Di 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 di. I die di die die die. Di die di die die. Good morning, everybody. Hope you are well. We are learning a new chapter in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. We are going to start a new month on Shabbos this year. It is the month of Nissan, which is the first month actually of the Jewish calendar. And there are a whole bunch of exciting things about Nissan, most importantly, Pesach, Passover. So if you have your text, we are on chapter 107. And we're going to go through this, and then we're going to get to some other things about Pesach in the time leading up. So of course, most of Nissan is taken up by preparing for Pesach, and which is what the sages wanted, and what Hashem orchestrated for us. We should know that there are some historical things that also took place in Nissan in following the Exodus from Egypt. So the Mishkan, the tabernacle, was inaugurated in the wilderness. So that was the first. Before we had a temple, we had the Mishkan, and it was put up on the first day of Nisan. And from that day, for the next 12 days, the leader of each one of the tribes would bring an offering to help dedicate this Mishkan. And these days are celebrated in a minor way. There's no, public ceremonies, but there are synagogues that have the custom that every morning after services, they read the portion of the Torah where it describes each one of the heads or the representatives of the tribes for 12 days. And since you have 12 days of the miluim, of these special days of putting up the Mishkan, of offerings at the Mishkan, and you have the 8 days in the diaspora, 7 days in Israel of Passover, and on all of those days, the custom is not to say Tachanun. So therefore, the entire month has a special standing in Halacha. We do not say Tachanun the entire month. Kol Chodesh Nisan, we don't say Tachanun prayers, which we would normally say after Shachris or after Mincha. And so if you're doing a funeral, you don't say this one prayer passage, which we normally say. And we also don't say the portion of Tzid Kascha on Mincha Shabbos. Nohagim Rosh Chodesh Elach, and from Rosh Chodesh and on Likrois Bechol Yom Parshas Anasi Shekir B'Yom, to read the passage connected with the dedication for that day. On the 13th day of Nisan, Korim Parshas Bahaloischa, we read the passage from Bahaloischa Ad Kain Asa Es HaMenorah, and so did he make the menorah. This is in Bamidbar, chapter 8, 1-4, Shu Neged Shevet Levi. And this corresponds to Levi, right? So you've got the 12 tribes, and then you add one extra one for Levi. All of these Nisim are found in the Bamidbar chapter 7. We don't say a bracha before and after this reading. It's just read out loud. There are those who even just read it out of a chumash and don't take out the Torah. So, but anybody, whether you're at home or in shul, you can take out your chumash and you can read the passage for each day. Another note about the Bahaloischa, which describes the mitzvah of lighting the menorah in the Mishkan by Aharon, And this was his contribution, right? This was Levi's contribution, was the elevating of the Mishkan with the lighting of the menorah. Number 2, Ein Mizanin, we don't fast any of the month, right? So, if a person wants to up their spiritual game and they decide they want to do a fast, or maybe they had a bad dream, or they have to make up a fast from a time they missed a fast.
Or
right?
maybe if or at least if the first child, if they get married or something. Maybe.
Oh, right. What if they're getting married that month? Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they wanna fast. So we say you cannot fast. This includes Erev Rosh Chodesh Iyar. Some have a custom every Erev Rosh Chodesh. So that would be the day before Rosh Chodesh to fast, which is called like a Yom Kippur Katan. So we wouldn't do that at the end of the month, even for those who normally do it every Erev Rosh Chodesh. We don't do it for a yahrzeit, right? There's a custom that some have that on their parents' yahrzeit, they fast. And so, what would you do? So let's say you're a person who fasts on your parents' yahrzeit. What would you do? You look, the Kitzur, Mishnah Berurah, others will say that in place of fasting, you should increase your Torah study and mitzvahs, right? And do things in the merit of the soul. So of the soul of your parent. Now, the custom amongst Hasidim and many others is not to fast, but rather to have a l'chaim and offer a little food in the shul on the day of the yahrzeit. And so that certainly is not fasting. Now, what about Bechorim Shemazim Erev Pesach? Wait a minute. Aren't we supposed to fast Erev Pesach if you're a firstborn? So the answer is yes, that is going to be the exception. And we'll discuss that when we get to that part of the laws. Which will be in Sif 113, God willing. Right? We said maybe they don't fast. So there's different opinions here. The Kitzur says they also fast in Nissan. Even though normally they wouldn't fast at all, he says they are going to fast in the end, even on Rosh Chodesh Nissan. So why is that? In other words, why would that be the majority of opinions? And why would Rosh Chodesh Nissan be an exception? Apparently, there's a specific tragedy which occurred on that date. If you see in the Shulchan Aruch, I believe that it's interesting because the personal fast and the fast for the parent are both very personal things. They're not communal in any way. Most of the things which are avoided during the Nissan are all the public mourning, like Tzid Kascha, Tachanun, and that kind of stuff. So we're going to have to say and dig deeper a little bit, why would the Chatan and Kala? So I believe that the answer is that you can't make up that fast, right? You can't say, okay, we couldn't fast for our wedding, but, next month, let's take a day, you and I, honey, and we'll fast. It's not really going to fly. So since you can't do that, make up that fast. So that's, I believe, why. To those who say that you should fast, they're going to say, well, the joy of the month overrides all other, and it's just your fortune that you're getting married during this month. I see a question. Okay, so the question is that Pesach starts on the 15th. That's correct. So reading the contributions of the 12 tribal leaders in Levim only covers 13 days, right? The Siyum, to end the fast of the firstborn, cover, why is it talking the day before? Oh, so thank you. Thank you very much. So there's a concept in halacha that when most of something has fallen under a certain guideline, we're going to include the rest. So because most of the month of Nissan is now without Tachanun, the 12 days plus the 13th day plus the 7 days, now you got 20 days since most of the month already we're not saying Tachanun, so that we did it for everybody now. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now the Shabbos before Pesach is called Shabbos Agadol, and it's it's a big, there's a lot of discussion. Why is it called Shabbos Agadol? Let's get into it. Number 3, the Shabbos Agadol lemincha. So now the mincha of Shabbos Agadol. So the there is a custom that the rabbi of the synagogue or even of the town would give actually only 2 times a year sermons. Some people longed for those days. And it would be before Pesach and on Shabbos Shuvah. And the goal of both is similar. The goal of specifically of the Shabbos Agadol drasha, and hopefully I'll be able to share with you the link of Rabbi Zimmerman's drasha, which is always phenomenal, and now he does it on Zoom, is the first goal is to educate people about the laws of Passover, because there's always more that we can learn about Pesach. And the other is to inspire us to have a good Pesach. So now, Nohagin shein omrim borchi nafshi. It's customary borchi nafshi is not recited. Ele avadim hayinu. So he says we should say after mincha and Shabbos, or at mincha Shabbos Agadol, after regular service, we should recite the part of the Haggadah which says avadim hayinu lefi Shabbos Agadol haisad tzchaz gula nisim. So Shabbos Agadol, there's various reasons why it's called that, but the most awesome reason is because we really believe that the Geula, that the redemption from Egypt began on the Shabbos before the Jews got out. How did it work, right? We took the lamb and we put it in our homes on Shabbos. And that statement that everybody did, that really began the whole redemption. So on the 10th of Nisan, in the year of the Yetzias Mitzrayim, the exodus from Egypt, right? Every house took a sheep, right? And they designated this is going to be their Pesach offering on the night of the Exodus. And of course, the Midrash tells us that when the Egyptians, they saw that the Jews were doing this, they were very upset. First of all, because they worshipped, the sheep had a special sanctity for them. And what are you doing with these sheep? And the Jewish people say, oh, we're going to fatten them up and shech them. We're going to slaughter them, and just like God told us to. And the Egyptians were not happy about this, but there was they had no means of really stopping them. It's accordingly, whether they tried or not, I'm not sure, but they were not able to prevent the Jewish people from every family from doing their own Korban Pesach, their own Passover offering. That year, the 10th of Nisan fell on a Shabbos, and henceforth the Shabbos is called Shabbos Agadol. That's from the Mishnah Berurah. There are other reasons that are given. This is the preeminent reason why we call it Shabbos Agadol. So as we see, the month of Nisan has a lot of specialness to it. And also there's a bracha that you can say. It's not in the text of the Kitzur right here, but there's actually a bracha, Birkata Ilanot, which is you say a blessing over seeing it's even a fruit tree blossoming, and ideally you see 2 trees that are blossoming. So that prayer is supposed to be said in the month of Nisan. So that's another thing, that if a person is really excited about the month of Nisan, so before Nisan, do a little scouting, right? Look out, find a fruit tree. Maybe it's in your backyard. And then you go to that tree on Nissan. You could be zariz, you could be exuberant for the mitzvot and do it on Rosh Chodesh, or you could pick another day. Let's say you have a yard site in Nissan of a parent, and you want to add additional merit and benefit to that day, you could say the blessing on that day as well. Those are the laws in the chapter 107, the Kitzur, on the laws of the month of Nissan. And of course, there's a lot more to talk about when it comes to Passover. Everybody have